The need for mechanical ventilation is the primary reason for admission to intensive care units. Hospitech Respiration introduces a new therapeutic approach to mechanically ventilated patients. The AG100s system is designed for prevention of complications related to prolonged mechanical ventilation and for enhancing the ventilation process. Critical aspects in the management of mechanically ventilated patients are related to inappropriate cuff pressure of the endotracheal tube. Underinflation of the cuff may lead to improper ventilation, and contaminated subglottic secretions may aspirate into the lungs and can lead to VAP, ventilator-associated pneumonia. Overinflation of the cuff may cause local mechanical injuries, such as edema and ulcerations, due to excessive pressure on the tracheal tissue. The AG100 system integrates two innovative solutions: automated adjustment of the cuff pressure based on continuous monitoring of CO2 leaks above the cuff, which indicates air leakage from the lungs. When the system detects CO2, it inflates the cuff, and when a leak is no longer detected, the cuff is gradually deflated. This ensures tracheal sealing at minimal cuff pressure. The second solution is simultaneous air venting or saline rinsing in parallel to evacuation of subglottic secretions from above the cuff. To begin the setup, connect the system to power and make sure that the vacuum line and the power cord are properly connected to the system. Also make sure that the air filter is in place on the back panel of the system. Next, connect the vacuum tube from the wall port to the designated vacuum inlet and make sure that it is tightly connected. Verify that the wall vacuum pressure is at least 300 millibars. To start the system, press the on-off button. A self-test procedure is automatically activated and runs for approximately 2 minutes. On the next screen, minimum and maximum cuff pressure default parameters are presented. Press Next to continue to the next screen. Enter the current tube position using the +- button and patient ID. Press Next to continue to the next screen. Connection kit setup. Follow the steps displayed on the screen. Step 1. Install the cassette by opening the front panel, lowering the cassette locking lever, and lifting the cover of the saline pump. Slide the cassette into its cradle from top down and lock it by moving the locking lever back to its top position. Step 2. Position the saline tube in the saline pump and close the pump's cover. Step 3. Connect the saline bag. Prepare a standard saline bag connected to a standard saline set and make sure to empty the air from the saline line by priming it. Connect the saline line set to the saline tube protruding from the left side of the system. Step 4. Connect the secretion canister. Connect the connection kit's patient tube with the blue connector to the canister's patient entry point, and then connect the vacuum tube with the white connector to the canister's vacuum entry point. In case the canister has a valve, make sure that the valve is on. Once all required connections have been completed, press the Next button to continue. The system will run a connection check lasting approximately 1 minute. The next screen is the saline rinse preparation screen. Verify saline flow from the bag to the canister. Now, the system is ready to be connected to the patient. The patient connection screen shows the connection instructions to the endotracheal tube. Follow the instructions to connect the kit harness lines to the patient's tube. The connector on both sides, kit and ETT, are color-coded green, yellow, clear. Once the Finish button is pressed, the main operation screen appears. The main screen is divided into a few sections. The header shows the chosen tube. When the AG100 tube is chosen, it enables full functionality of the system. The system works in cycles. Each cycle consists of leak test and automatic adjustment of cuff pressure within preset pressure limits, suction of secretions from the subglottic space, simultaneous rinsing and suction of secretions from the subglottic space. Below the tube type, the system functions are presented. Subglottic suction, rinse, and leak test LEDs indicate which actions are performed automatically and blink when an action is active. In case it was chosen to deactivate one of the automated functions, the related LED indicator will appear faded. Cuff pressure section presents current cuff pressure. Manual operation buttons. At any given time, the actions can be performed manually by pressing the buttons located at the left side of the touchscreen. Settings icon changes patient details and system parameters. History icon shows up to an 8-hour history of target cuff pressure and CO2 leaks. It is recommended to switch the system to standby when treating the patient, conducting an examination, or disconnecting the patient from the system. It should also be used when there is a need to replace the saline bag, the secretion canister, the connection kit, or the patient's tube. To switch the system to standby, press the standby button on the front panel. The cuff pressure will be automatically increased by 2 centimeters of water, and the pressure will be maintained as long as the system is in standby. To disconnect the patient, make sure the system is in standby mode and disconnect the harness. When the patient is ready to be reconnected to the system, first reconnect the connection kit harness to the tube and only then press Exit Standby. Maintaining the cuff pressure when the system is in standby mode is especially crucial when replacing the connection kit. To do this correctly, press Standby and disconnect the harness lines from the patient's tube. Then, disconnect the suction canister tubes and saline tube. Open the system's front door and remove the cassette. Now, assemble a new cassette and reconnect the saline bag, canister, and patient. To shut the system down, switch the system to standby and disconnect the connection kit harness from the tube. Press the on-off button and confirm the shutdown of the system. After the system has shut down, dispose of the single-use connection kit, the saline bag, and the secretion canister. Clean the system following its instructions for use. The system is now ready for the next connection.